the Justice House. I even have a Georgian passport. The symbol of Georgia's modernization. The strategy of the four pillars grounded on education, the economy, infrastructure, and an efficient and inclusive governance system is a key step in the right direction. This ambitious reform agenda needs the stability assured by the latest elections offers the possibility of making even more progress, also through a balanced interaction between institutions and executive powers, an inclusive political dialogue, a fully independent judicial system, and an adequate pluralism of information. The EU was a pivotal step. Equally important is the progress you made on the standards for visa liberalization, which Italy staunchly supports. We will continue to stand by Georgia along this challenging but unavoidable road. Our country wishes to reinforce the already excellent relation with Tbilisi. We intend to intensify our political relations both at bilateral and multilateral level. We want to strengthen our cultural and scientific partnerships, spanning from archaeological missions to scholarships, from protecting cultural heritage to establishing a collaboration for the future Georgian technology of winemaking. And wine also is uniting our two countries. From the middle of November to the middle of January, a great exhibition at the MoMA of Tbilisi will offer a journey into the history of Italian fashion. At the same time, numerous events will promote the excellence of Italian food and wine products. Among the EU countries, we are Georgia's third largest trade partner. It's something, but we can do much more. The opportunities offered by DCFTA to Georgia and Italy, which is Europe's second manufacturer, have not yet been explored fully. Made in Italy products and Italian creativity and technology are greatly admired and on demand here. Machinery, agro-food, infrastructure, energy, tourism, logistics, rural development, and small and medium enterprises. These are some sectors in which we want to boost trade and investment. And with this goal in mind, we are working to host in Italy next year a business forum with a large delegation of Georgian business. Ladies and gentlemen, our relations are based on a common choice of freedom, a common commitment for peace and prosperity, a natural vocation that both have in our history and our geography. Ancient civilizations at the crossroads of cultures and trade. These are Georgia and Italy. Our actions must continue to be based on being open to the world and to dialogue, not only for our own security and stability, but for that of all of Europe. Didi Madloba. Grazie.
Dear Ministers, Your Excellencies, distinguished audience, I'm delighted to witness this important occasion today, the visit of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Italian Republic to Georgia, His Excellency Paolo Gentiloni. I would like to thank Minister Mikhail Gianelidze and the Minister Paolo Gentiloni for their insightful speeches. We had an opportunity to learn about the relations between our country, about challenges Europe faces, and where does Italy stand on the international stage. On behalf of Rondelli Foundation, I'm pleased to be co-organizer of this event in partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Georgia and Embassy of Italy, Tbilisi, and I'm tasked here to moderate the question and answer session. As I'm aware of, there already has been a press event, and there is another media briefing planned. Thus, I would urge representatives of the press to give a chance to the representatives of think tanks, experts, deep course to pose the questions. We will take 3 questions at a time, and we have around 20 minutes. Thus, I would kindly ask you to present yourself and be as precise and brief as possible. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Chitadze Kacha. Okay, and Shorena Kipanidze. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, both ministers. My question goes to Minister Gentiloni. Approximately a year ago, almost 1 year ago, Georgia successfully completed Visa Liberalization Action Plan, and the European Commission made a proposal to the Council and the European Parliament for granting to Georgia visa-free travel. So we are waiting with hope this decision, and we know that Italy is supportive in this regards, but we would like to have more details about if you think, could we hope to receive this treatment before the end of this year, or at least in following months, or this can go to the long-term process. Thank you very much.
Shorena.
Yeah. Shorena Lord-Kipanidze, Civil Council on Defense and Security, non-governmental organization. My question also addresses Minister Gentiloni. Could you please share with us those external and internal factors that make you sure, as European politician, that Georgia could become really Western European democratic country, and the factors that hinder Georgia's path to this way? Thank you very much.
And one more.
First of all, thank you very much for so excellent presentation, dear Minister. Excellency, with your permission and permission of the distinguished audience, I have a question related to the role of Italy in providing the energy security of Europe. We know here that in the beginning of the 21st century, Italian company Eni signed a contract with Russian company Gazprom, and Italy was importing about 22 billion cubic meters of natural gas. As it was mentioned by the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Georgia, it is being considered as the implementation of Project TAP, Trans-Adriatic Pipeline project. At the same time, we know that still Europe is dependent on the Russian gas, and about 130 billion cubic meters of gas is exported each year on the European market. And your point of view and position of Italy for the decreasing the dependence of Russia and more providing the energy security of the European Union. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have to come there?
No, you can from there.
Okay. There is a micro functioning?
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. On visa liberalization, what I asked yesterday, I have to to say to my to some of the my colleagues in the European Parliament, because as you know, everything is now only needing the final approval from the European Parliament, and they told me that the approval will arrive within this year. It is not clear when, but within this year. I think it's a very, very good achievement. As Mikhail was saying, Italy was very supportive, especially confronting some difficulties in the last 2 or 3 months. And I think it could be a good sign to the public, to the Georgian citizens, of the importance of this process. The external, internal factors, defining the role of Georgia in the Western community, it's not an easy question to be answered in short. But I think it's very clear that we have a democratic and stable country, which is fundamental. And the electoral process in the last years showed this in a very clear way. We have some more steps to define, but this is always the language of the European Union. Further steps, but you know, it is a process. It's a gradual process. I think that towards our public opinion, we should be clear, we in the EU and you for your citizens, that the perspective of EU and the perspective of NATO are there, and that the process will be a gradual one. In a gradual process, what is important is that you have a step further, and you are not in a static position or going back. We had a step further, both in NATO. We strongly appreciate what Georgia is doing in Afghanistan. We are having step further in EU. We will go on with this process. And I think that the characteristic of Georgia are evident from this point of view. Energy. Yes, Italy has a strong relation with Russian gas, declining but still strong. Our sources are now more diversified, both in Africa and coming from this region through the project that Mikhail described before, which is one of the most relevant projects in investment now in the world. This, we call it the Trans-Adriatic Pipeline, but something from Azerbaijan coming to Italy and spreading in the Balkans and in many areas of the region. So we will lower our dependence from this situation. We are not in the, as you know, in the doubling of Nord Stream project, which is on the way in northern part of Europe. We are stressing the importance of the southern corridor we are working on together. Thank you.
And there was a third question about what makes you believe in Georgia's capacity and ability to become Western European state? Yeah, there is. Okay, sorry. Then we can take three. Mr. Kudava, Mr. Kakulia, Pakur, Shalava.
Thank you. Mamuka Kudava from Free University, ex-ambassador. Mr. Minister, thank you very much to you, to your predecessor, Madame Mogherini, and to your government for continued support for Georgia's European integration. And congratulations on your new passport as well. My question is regarding Italy-Russia relationships recently, because there have been some reports that Italy is among some EU members who are advocating lifting sanctions vis-a-vis Russia. So what's your take on that? Thank you.
Thank you, and Mr. Kakulia.
Professor Merab Kakulia from the GFSIS Rondelli Foundation. My question is about Italian FDA in Georgia. the volume of your country's investments in Georgia is relatively low compared with other European countries. While Georgian business climate and investment climate in general is very friendly, what, in your opinion, could be done for facilitation of Italian investments in Georgia? Thank you.
And at the back, Mr. Georgi.
Georg Gogwaza from Georgia's Reforms Associates. Mr. Minister, Your Excellency, I'd like to ask a question about Syria. And recently, the European Council strongly condemned the attacks by the Assad regime and its allies, notably from Russia. And how do you think, can we assume that the EU, apart from having sanctions on Russia over Ukraine, would also impose sanctions on Russia over Syria?
Thank you.
Well, relation Italy-Russia, I have to say that our position is now, we could define it, the mainstream position in NATO. Maybe it was not the case 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, but now I think for sure that the main NATO countries, beginning from the US administration, are on the same line. And the line is that we should keep our firm position towards Russia with the Ukrainian crisis and other crises. But at the same time, we need to engage Russia in the potentiality of dialogue. Will the dialogue be useful? We will see. Will the dialogue bring us back to the strategic partnership with Russia that we were talking about 5 years, 10 years ago? Very difficult. But the dialogue is fundamental to reach and have a better stability in our region. I have to say that frequently, I have to be honest, I see a difference between speeches and vocal speeches on Russia and practical decisions and attitude. So to be clear, Italy is maybe one of the 2 European countries, EU countries, more affected by sanctions, and is applying sanctions with a coherent and clear attitude. I am not criticizing anybody, but I would prefer that questions about being flexible with Russia would be asked, for example, to several countries committed in the doubling of the Nord Stream, which is perhaps something very serious. As far as Italy is concerned, we are there. We not support, which is a wrong, we share sanctions. We hope in the progress in the Minsk agreement that could allow us to reduce sanctions, but this is unfortunately for the moment not the case. If and when, we will be happy to reduce the level of sanction. I don't think, and I am happy that this was the unanimous position of the EU foreign ministers. I don't think that sanctions towards Russia on Syria would be helpful. I don't think that they would change the situation in the catastrophe that is going on in East Aleppo. I don't think that they will help the Syrian people on the humanitarian level. I am sure that they could have a negative spillover on Ukrainian sanctions. The divisions on Syrian sanctions could have a negative spillover on Syrian sanctions, on Ukrainian sanctions. And this is the reason why all the foreign ministers unanimously were against sanctions. Then some countries proposed again at the European Council this proposal, but it was not shared. Finally, investments. How could we increase? I agree. We have to increase. We can increase. It will be something we will deal with in the business forum we are organizing next year. The message to our companies is clear. There is a business-friendly country and a platform for investment in several other markets. The experience that the country is investing here in energy, in agri-food, in infrastructures, and there are big companies investing here, are very positive. And so I think that they will also convey the message to the Italian business community. Yes, we have a good trade partnership, but we could have stronger investment.
Thank you. I'm told that we're running over time, so maybe we can take just one more question. Georgi Muchaidze, please.
Georgi Muchaidze, Atlantic Council of Georgia. In this time of political crisis for European Union after the Brexit and there is this refugee inflow challenge, some of the prominent politicians in Europe are saying that maybe one of the ways out is to strengthen the common foreign and security policy, and some are even suggesting creating the European army. So what's Italy's position on that?
Yes, we totally agree with the perspective of a stronger European common defense. I wrote with my colleague, the Minister of Defense, an article a couple of months ago. The title was a Schengen of Defense, which is perhaps a little bit ambitious. But at the same time, it should be clear that a stronger common European defense, which is very important for strategic reasons, financial reasons, economic reasons, will not be a European army and will not be something overlapping with NATO capacity. This is very clear to Jens Stoltenberg. We discussed with him several times in the last weeks. And there is a common sense, at least between Italy, Germany, and France, to go on in this process, but without building European army and without duplicating NATO, obviously.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we should end. Thank you, Minister, for your sincere answers. Thank you.
Grazie.
კიდე ავიღებდით ერთ-ორ შეკითხვას. Thank you very much. Welcome.